Hello. Uh, so I'm still dealing with the tinnitus pretty bad. Uh, it's a lot of days where I just hate my life. I wake up hating it and I go to bed hating it, and it sucks. Uh, um, that being said, uh, I wanted to get my neck checked out because obviously going to the chiropractor this long and not seeing results. Most people don't take that long to see results. Like upper cervical chiropractics, it's not a joke. They're generally pretty good, and I met a lot of people who've been in car accidents and stuff that have been helped. And yeah, so it's been a long time. So I went to. I was just like my neck. Just I feel like it's difficult holding my head up. I feel like sometimes it's just like the muscles in the like when you lift weights, like if you're doing curls or whatever, and you get to that point where you're hitting exhaustion and you can't do another rep. That's what I feel like, but like in the back of my neck sometimes, and it's just like not quite as bad, but it's nearly as bad. It's like holy crap! I just feel like I've been working out my neck all day, and I've just been standing or sitting or whatever, not doing anything. And it's because the muscles are so tight, and the reason why muscles get tight in your neck is because they're holding on because your cervical vertebrae are moving around too much. So they tighten up to hold things in place. Because literally, like if they don't, then they just bounce around in there. Maybe only a few millimeters. I don't know how much they have free travel to move around, but uh, so then I was like, well, I'm pretty sure I have ligament damage. I talked to 3 doctors, and they all said, no, I don't have ligament damage. Like, I went to a doctor at Nona Medical Arts in Florida, and I was like, and he said, based on my flexion-extension x-rays, like, and how he felt my neck and all that, like, I definitely don't have ligament damage. And I was like, well, I never took a flexion-extension x-ray, and this guy's crazy. Because flexion means, like, you're tilting your head to the right or tilting it to the left and then taking the x-ray. I never did that. The upper cervical chiropractor, maybe they'll have your head tilted up because they need to shoot downwards into your cervical vertebrae, but otherwise they want you straight. They don't want you turning anything because they need to see things. They want to. Hi, how's it going? Doing good yourself? My neighbor. Um, yeah. I just got tired of telling people how I honestly am. So anyway, I don't. It's pretty shit. Like that situation, doctors tell me I don't have ligament damage. It's like, well, so he told me I didn't have any, you know, not knowing what the hell he's even talking about. He couldn't have told just from the information he had. And so I was like, I'm gonna know for sure. And I went and I got a digital motion X-ray, which they don't have everywhere, but you can get a flexion extension where you, like motion X-ray, you're basically, it's a video X-ray, so you turn your head and you look up and down and in and out, and they can see like, all right, is anything moving around funny that would indicate, uh, ligament damage, like is your C1 like hanging over the side of your C2 when you turn your head or like lean to the side, and or is like the C1 moving too far forward when you put your chin out, and so there's that, and of course if you've had stiffness in your neck for months, that indicates ligament damage to connective tissue because like I mean a lot of us have stiffness in our neck from seeing computers and whatnot, but I mean like more than normal stiffness. And then if that goes on, well, say you have an injury, if you injure if you're running and you injure your thigh, that doesn't take a year to heal. It doesn't take 3 months to heal, unless it's a really bad tear. Muscle just doesn't take that long to heal. So it's like the only other tissue in our body that takes that long to heal, takes longer to heal, is connective tissue. So anyway, I got the DMX, the digital motion X-ray, and they find clear ligament damage. And I was on Caring Medical's website. They do like prolotherapy and PRP and stuff like that for like injections to repair ligaments in your knee, in your neck, anywhere you need help. And they're saying half the people that they see with ligament damage have tinnitus from it in their neck. So they say cervical instability, but same difference. It's unstable because the ligaments are supposed to be holding it in place. That's what holds it in place. Without those, your spine's just gonna flop around in there. It's not gonna stay where it's supposed to be. Like the C1 and the C2 aren't attached aside from the tendon or the ligaments. So, to my knowledge, anyway. So that was positive. They found ligament damage, so I was like, all right. Well, I tried to apply to go to Caring Medical, and they rejected me. And they refused to tell me why. And they were very rude. And they tried to tell me that the reason they couldn't send me email was it was my fault. I'm like, well, I worked on email servers for years. That's my job in cybersecurity is to manage email. I understand how to read headers in an email. So it's like, I give them another email address, still doesn't work. Anyway, they did finally send it. They did finally get the email to me, and of course it showed that problem was on their end in the headers. It's like long delays. But but they kept acting like I was being an ass for not being able to receive the email. I'm like, well, even if it was my fault, like it's not on purpose. So, and the people who answered the phones were pretty rude, and then the staff was generally treating me like garbage. And the only thing I can think of is that they are in huge demand, and they just don't give a fuck. Because that's the only time that happens in a business. You don't do that when you need customers. So, I've been looking around for another prolotherapy place, and found Peak Health. So I'm gonna try to go there. Get some injections on Monday for my neck. I mean, it could take a month. It could take 4 months. I don't know how long, but I mean, even without the tinnitus problem, I still can't do anything much. Like I like re-injure my neck every time I do anything slightly like physical. Like if I, go for a jog or try to do chores around the house, my neck starts to hurt a little. And then the more I do it, the more it hurts. And it's like I'm like re-injuring the ligament. I can feel them in my neck. Like it feels awkward. And that doesn't mean if you don't have to feel as bad as I do to get checked. Like if you have a C1 or C2 like rotation, like misalignment, you go to the upper cervical chiropractor. If it's like 1 or 2 degrees, you might not have ligament damage, because to rotate that far, it didn't really stretch the ligaments that much. That being said, flexion-extension x-rays are probably covered by your insurance. They don't take much time, and they're pretty good. They're not quite as good as the digital motion x-ray, but they're pretty good at figuring out if someone has ligament damage. And so it's worth doing that. If you have an upper cervical misalignment issue, then you should do that. And sometimes you can just fix it. You don't have to get injections. You could just do physical therapy. It just depends on the severity of it. Like when you exercise, that can also strengthen your connective tissue. Like physical, I said that, physical therapy. Yeah. So what else? Yeah, so that's pretty much where I'm at. I just wanted people to know I've met a lot of people online. Like if you had a neck injury, if you're having neck problems and you have tinnitus, like I mean, if I go on Ask on Reddit or Facebook, like, does anybody else have neck problems, and tinnitus start right after, or like, then, that I probably get like 5 to 10 responses every time I posted from different people. So if you extrapolate that over the course of a year, probably looking in the United States at 20,000 plus people, and that's a very low estimate. It could be like 50 or 100,000 people like me or you or whoever. But there's a lot of people that have this, not just in the United States. Typically, that's who would be responding on a Reddit or a Facebook post. So anyway, the symptoms I have, if you want to see, like, maybe if they match up to yours, like if I lay down, it gets worse, and I don't know why people will say like, oh well, it's quieter. I'm like, no, laying down doesn't magically change the volume of the room you're in. It's weird that people say that, but some people think that. So anyway, if you really want to test that, you can just go lay down outside where it's noisy and lay down for 5 minutes, and then go back inside and see if your tinnitus got louder. Because then it's not just because it's quiet. Because, well, I mean, your tinnitus can get louder if you go in quiet. Like, I've read studies where people are watching the neurons fire in the brain, and they fire more when it's quieter, when you're in a quieter environment. Why that happens, I don't know. Oh, hey, how's it going? How's the dogs? Gotta say hi to the dogs. Hey. Hey. Hi. Hi.
We get to see Grandpa.
Hi.
Yes. We know. You want all the attention.
Hi, doggies. I got you. Oh, I gotta.
Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. It's cute dogs. But so, yeah, there's laying down. If that makes it worse, if you move around in bed, then that can make if that alters the night, like if you roll to your right and roll to your left, now you got different sounds, or louder or softer or whatever. If moving around while on your neck, putting pressure on your neck, and that's changing the volume, then you probably have ligament damage in your neck. Because if you didn't, C1 wouldn't really move around. Like, what happens is that you roll over, C1 or C2, whatever, moves further than it should because you're rolling. You have some pressure on your neck, and the muscles tighten up, and that typically coincides with the increased tinnitus and the different sounds and all that. And I'm not 100% sure how that works. Like, I see all kinds of explanations from doctors, and I've yet to read any, like, well, like Karen Metal has some research on, like, that they've seen where you'll see, like, blood vessels or major arteries getting restricted because of people with cervical instability. But the thing is, like, the C1, even when it's unstable, even when it's moving around the way it shouldn't, like, I mean, the muscle tightness has to be a huge part of it, because a lot of people I meet with the cervical instability problem, the ligament damage, the ringing goes away a lot when you get in hot water, like a hot tub or a hot shower. Loosens all that up. You get out of the hot shower and you're like, well, the tinnitus is quieter than when I got in the shower, right? So it's not the noise of the shower masking the tinnitus. We're talking about you had the tinnitus at a certain level. You get in the shower for however long, usually longer, and with the hot water right on your neck for a while, like 10-15 minutes. Then you get out, then you notice, oh, it's quieter, and that's another sign that you have ligament damage in your neck. And there's course, if I hunch over, if I'm like leaning over to do whatever for a while, that'll increase the ringing in my neck, or in my head, my ears. That'll increase its noise. So if you've got that going on, then I'd definitely get checked out for ligament damage, and also check with an upper cervical chiropractor, because you want to repair the ligaments, whether it's through prolotherapy or whether through physical therapy. Prolotherapy being the injections, physical therapy, exercise. But you also want the vertebrae to be where they're supposed to be, and so that things heal in the right spot. So you could do the upper cervical work along with that therapy, and that, yeah. So you do that, and then hopefully you see some improvement. I mean, for me, it's like I personally, I was saying earlier, like I can't really do any. I can't work. Like the ringing gets so loud in like an office setting, and then for some reason it's louder when I sit, even if I try to have good posture. Another thing that you could check would be if you wear a neck brace. Like I wear about a 4-inch neck brace, which goes from about like here to here, right on like where your collarbone is, right here, to your chin. That's the size you want for your. It's just a soft collar, like on Amazon. It's like $20. If I wear that for a couple hours while I'm sitting or walking around or whatever, the tinnitus gets quieter. I guess because it just it keeps everything in place without my muscles having to keep everything in place. So they let up. So they loosen up, and then the tinnitus gets quieter. But you can't wear that all day because it makes your neck muscles weak. They will atrophy. And 3 hours a day is okay, but 12 hours a day, that'd be real bad. And you start to get weak, and that's other problems. But maybe even the short term you could wear it. I haven't tried that, like wear it all day for like a week. See if that does something. Well, the thing is, if you have ligament damage, then that's not gonna get fixed in a week anyway. So I guess another thing that can trigger increased tinnitus if you have ligament damage is if you do any kind of like lifting with your upper body, any kind of either chores or lifting weights or exercise where doing something with your upper body, and then when it gets worse, then that's probably your neck. And some of these have some overlap into like jaw issues, like if you roll around in bed, or if you're laying in a certain position, the tinnitus gets worse. It can be because of a jaw issue. But typically, like when I move around in bed, it doesn't matter if I lay on my left side, if I lay on my back, if I lay on my stomach, if I move to my right side. No matter how I'm moving, tinnitus gets worse temporarily. And then when I relax, it gets quieter. Like when I'm not moving for a little bit in bed, it gets quieter. Not much, but it gets louder and then it gets quieter. So I just wanted to. I know this isn't the most organized video, but it's hard for me to focus and all the stress and everything. But I wanted to get the information out there because every day I see posts on Facebook and every day I see posts on Reddit about people with neck problems and tinnitus, and they don't know what to do, and nobody has any answers, and they never heard of it. And so I'm like, well, you need to go to the upper cervical chiropractor. It's just, you can find ones that take insurance. You can call around and say, hey, can you do upper cervical stuff like take x-rays, see if my vertebrae are in alignment, and adjust them using say like Atlas orthogonal is a good tool. There's a Blair method, which I tried, just didn't do shit. So if you want to do that, I don't know, there's people that it helps. So it's just Blair method, just using your hands. So So there's that. But a lot of people swear by it, so it just didn't work for me. I used Atlas orthogonal mostly. That's made the best difference. And so you could ask and see if they take insurance. I mean, the one I go to now, I pay $15 an appointment, and he's great. Some will try to like avoid adjusting you ever. They'll be like, hey, once a month, and your body's healing itself magically. But it's not really, because you might have ligament damage. If you don't have ligament damage, then they're right. Like moving it around, maybe adjusting it, once or twice a month is fine. But that's another thing. Like if you have ligament damage and you go to the upper cervical chiropractor and you get the adjustments, and they put you more towards where things are supposed to be, which they call alignment, and then you come back out of alignment, which may not actually, like if you move from 9 degrees to 6 degrees, they'll call that like improvement, like being more in alignment for being in alignment, even though you're not at 0 degrees yet. And then the idea is you want to keep you there for a little bit and then try to move even further and keep you there for a little bit. And that's what they call holding, like you're holding the position they moved you into. But if they're pushing the vertebrae one way and it keeps going back the other way, and that happens a little bit to everybody. But if that happens, if you're going like 20 times and it's just every time you go, it comes back out of alignment. And it's like, that's also a sign of ligament damage, because the only thing holding it in place are your muscles. And your muscles are going to let up sometimes because you're going to take a shower, or you're going to stretch, or you're going to turn your head a certain way and allow for the vertebrae to move some. Whereas like ligaments are much better at holding the cervical vertebrae where they're supposed to be. So if you have damage, you're going to have problems getting results at an upper cervical chiropractor. Mine was like really bad. It was at least 15 degrees. I think it might have been 18, but most people are 5 degrees or under for rotation. So you might have some loosening or tearing of ligaments, but that's probably not that bad. For me, it's like, I can't believe nobody suggested to me, like, hey, you're really fucked up. You should go get you should get your ligaments checked out, because you like literally can't do your own laundry or do the dishes or do anything. So, and nobody said that. They looked at it, they said it looks horrific, but it's like, yep, just keep going to the upper cervical chiropractor, they'll fix everything. But it's like they can't, because my ligaments are screwed up. So, sorry, it's construction. So that's why I'm going to get them fixed, and yeah, I'm scared because I go get prolotherapy or injections or whatever, and they could do it wrong, they could do it not enough, they do it too much. It might make the ringing temporarily way worse because it causes inflammation. Like, it's designed to irritate the nerves. Well, not just the nerves, but the general area is supposed to be, as far as the body is concerned, they shoot that dextrose solution into in your neck, and then your body thinks there's an injury and it tries to repair it. So it does more than the normal repair than it would do on the ligaments in the area, because it senses an injury. And I don't know why our bodies suck so bad at fixing ligaments. You think, hey, that's probably pretty important, because without those the muscles don't work either, and you're willing to fix the muscles. Why not the ligaments? But our bodies don't give a shit. So that's where we're at. That's where I'm at. For the digital motion x-ray, I also wanted to say that was not covered by insurance, $450. I just paid it because I was like tired of these dumbass doctors not being able to do their jobs. So, they're trying to. I mean, they clearly found the stuff wrong with me, and I'm gonna go Monday and see if I can get that fixed. Try to think if there's anything else I wanted to say, anything important. Prolotherapy is not typically covered by insurance. PRP, I had a doctor tell me, PRP's, I don't think is either. It's not like FDA approved, like prolotherapy, but the actual, like, dextrose being like put in your body is not, like, the FDA doesn't have a problem with that. So it's not like, this is a chemical, I mean, it's just sugar. So they don't have it's just the actual procedure of injecting it in the neck for the purpose of repairing ligament damage, or in your wrist or in your knee. Like, a lot, it's done a lot more often for other, like knee injuries and lower back and wrist and elbows and stuff like that. Just people can injure those more often, and it's fine. I mean, if you want to look up reviews, at worst, it doesn't really hurt people. Caring Medical has some reviews where they're like, people are like, Jesus fucking Christ, like, you put 40 needles into my wrist, like, you idiots. Like, so I don't know what's up with them and doing like a tremendous more amount than you're supposed to. I just don't know what's up with them in general. They just don't. They seem a little crazy. But there are other places, like there was a guy found, Dr. Reeves in Kansas. He seems really good, but he's booked out till April. So I don't want to wait till April, because over time, I do want to say over time, if your ligaments, if they're damaged, they can get worse. So the longer you wait. Now, it doesn't mean like there are people that have damaged ligaments for a decade and they get it fixed with prolotherapy. So it's not like you're just screwed if it's been a year. But sooner the better. And also, if it could bring me any relief, that'd be great. Because as it is now, I just struggle each day just to get through the day. I go to the beach. Can't really hear any ringing there at all, and for whatever reason, the beach, being outdoors calms down your parasympathetic nervous system. And we all know that. You go out in nature, you feel better. But if you go out if you go near water, that helps even more, like rivers, streams, lakes, ocean. It calms you down even more. And I think a lot of us spend too much time inside that we don't even remember what it feels like to be calm anymore. Like, there's a certain kind of feeling you get when you are not near screens, TV, like this type of intense stimulation that gives you that dopamine hit. That being away from that allows your brain to, and this is not just my idea, this is like a lot of people that work in mental illness, this is part of normal practice. Like, why when you go to inpatient facilities, they take a lot of stimulating stuff away because it resets your brain. Like, it basically, it's like if you get off caffeine, it's difficult, but then you don't need it. Like, most people wake up in the morning, they drink coffee because they have to. Not most, well, a lot of people. But if you get off caffeine and you're off it for a little while, then you wake up and you're just fine. You don't need it, and you're good. That's kind of like that with like getting away from this super stimulating stuff. Like, then you don't crave it because you don't need it, because you can go outside and go for a walk and appreciate nature and think like, wow, this is amazing. Whereas if you just got done playing video games or watching an intense TV series, you can't take pleasure in it because it can't compare with the intensity of that. So you can't enjoy life as much when you're stimulating yourself like that hard for that long. It's just Anyway, yeah, I go out in nature and hang out outside and try to think of work that I could do that doesn't involve moving, doesn't involve being inside, and look up medical stuff. And I do try to have somewhat of a social life too. And I exercise. I do about an hour of cardio a day on the exercise bike because I don't have to hunch over. I can lean back on it. And that's it. That's what I do, and it's a pretty miserable existence. Not, I mean, that stuff would be alright for a vacation even. It's not terrible, but like, you know, every night's pretty hellish. And anytime I mean, a lot of time when I go to the doctor, you know, they want me to sit in a quiet room for an hour while I wait for them to, you know, because they're always late. And that sucks. And well, if you had tinnitus, you know it's not fun, even if you can get a break from it sometimes. So, yeah, hope this helps people. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. It's just my username at gmail.com, like the YouTube username, VOB. So, see you around.